We were in a tar paper shack left over from the Second World War. In 1958, ground had already been broken for the first two buildings on the current site. It was tremendously forward-looking, and I knew that while I started off in these shacks, it was only one winter.
When we came, there were two buildings in a sea of mud. There was the science building and the education building. And then there was the library, and then there was the phys ed building. And after that, it was so explosive you couldn't keep track of it. It was amazing. Buildings just went up like mushrooms.
The best way to figure out where to put the sidewalks was to let the building be built, put grass everywhere, watch where the people walked, and then the next spring put the sidewalks where the people walked.
We started being the University of Alberta in Calgary. We later became the University of Alberta, Calgary, the University of Alberta at Calgary, and finally we got the title of the University of Calgary.
I think the community feels ownership of the university. I think that's a very good thing.
It was the community that fought for this, and it was a community initiative that started out of education.
The spirit of entrepreneurship, which pervades much of Alberta culture, is very strong here at the U of C, and I found that from the very beginning.
In 1983, the Canadian Association of Petroleum Landmen came and said we want to have landmen trained in Canadian oil and gas as contrasted to go in Oklahoma or someplace else in the U.S. because the systems are different. This was the university's first externally funded program. So we had things that we started in 1983, 84, 85. They're still running very well 30 years later, and there's no place else in North America that's figured out how to do the same thing.
We created the very first Women in Engineering Committee in the country, and we now have more women faculty than any other faculty in the country. When I started, we had two. One was a young, untenured woman called Elizabeth Cannon.
I was going to be here for 1 year and look for a better job. And I enjoyed it so much that I remember coming home and telling my wife one time, you know, these people are mad. If they only knew I'd do this job for free, they wouldn't have to pay me.